Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back. Another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Friday, October 25th. Obviously, the Celtics play tonight or yesterday. As you're listening to this, we're pre-recording the rest of the show, but we'll talk Celtics-Pistons in this one. Don't worry about it. Celtics are 2-0 as we're talking, and we'll see if it's 3-0. You can't. Our Pistons isn't allowed when they're playing a Celtics for you.
No,
I feel like that's a war crime.
There's one time they're not.
Okay.
Well, the 3 or 4 times a year, whatever it is.
Okay. How you doing, Sam?
Doing pretty good. Celtics are playing well, at least as we're recording this. Might not be the case when this episode drops. We don't know. But so far, so good. We have a fun show for you because the NBA is finally back. We don't have to just look and try and find anything to talk about. We have, of course, last night's Celtics game. We have your emails, which we have plenty of. And we'll just check in around the NBA, see what's going on through the first week. Sixers are in hot water. And then the rat list. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss any of our daily uploads, new stuff every morning. Jack and I drop in full pods Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, game recaps morning after each game, other videos in between. So, again, subscribe.
Yes, sir. We're here. Let's jump right into our recap of Celtics-Pistons. All right, we are here after Celtics-Pistons 124-118 win for the Celtics, their closest game of the season by far. That included some of their best basketball of the season and some of their worst basketball of the season, all in the same game. First half, Celtics red hot. Second half, Celtics very much not that. And they still managed to get a win despite a huge surge from the Pistons. Monster game for Tatum, most of it coming in the first half. The same can be said for Al Horford, Peyton Pritchard, and Jaylen Brown. Big clutch game for D. White. We'll get into all of it, but 3-0 Celtics, no matter how ugly it looked.
Yeah, so it looks like the Pistons are the best team the Celtics have played against so far, which is pretty fair. I mean, coming into the season, I was high on the Pistons, and I've been high on them for a couple years now. Jack knows and never wants to listen, but they look like they are a team who's ready to compete for a championship, plain and simple. They had really great minutes from some of their key additions in the summer. Malik Beasley looked like he's ready to play some fucking ball. Tim Hardaway Jr. made some big shots in this game, and Cade is here, as is Jaden Ivey. Both those guys played pretty good. For the Celtics, I think we all got a good look at what karma looks like on the basketball court, because Jaylen Brown is the first time he got in front of a microphone this year, had the took the chance to insult the Pistons, name drop them as the team that last season, which I mean I believe it, they were the team that the Celtics fucked around against, and said, "How can we play through Sam Hauser tonight?" Unfortunately, Sam Hauser was out and didn't play in this game, so they couldn't really go to that game plan. But they went through the other white guy, Pritchard, in the first half. The Pistons definitely remember Jalen's media day comments. They came back firing in the second half after the Celtics were scorched earth to start this one. But there's good and there's bad, and it's nice. As much as like people might think we root against the team, it's not the case, but it is kind of nice to get on a pod here after a game with something to actually take away from it, rather than wow, everything's awesome and everybody else sucks and all the threes go in every day.
Much easier to talk about, I would argue, than good job, everybody, you made your threes. Yeah. No, the Celtics, like we mentioned, were scorched earth in the first half of the game. I mean, I wrote about it in my article, but first half, Tatum, Brown, Horford, and Pritchard combined for 69 of the Celtics' 73 points and shot 16 of 29 from deep, which is just insane. Those four were red hot. The other 4 points were Derrick White. The second half came out, or really towards the end of that, that second quarter, they just got lazy. Like the shots started being, let's see if I can take on this player by myself and throw up a bad look. The defense became, oh no, this guy's open in the corner. Oh no, these guys are, in the paint boxing us out. Like they just got a little bit, lackadaisical with the way they were doing things on both ends, and that allowed the Pistons to get hot. That allowed Malik Beasley hit some threes. Simone Fontecchio hit some threes. Cade Cunningham had some big shots. Like the Pistons were just kind of ramping up their intensity as the Celtics were getting lazy because they just had, the hottest first half or whatever of the season. That's hard to say considering how hot they've been, but they just kind of like rested on their laurels a little bit, and the Pistons came firing back. But to the Celtics' credit, they stay composed in that fourth quarter. Like when everything was going to crap, they had some huge defensive stops. Jaylen Brown was harassing ball handlers. Drew Holiday got his deal. Derrick White had 2 blocks in the fourth, one of which was at a crucial point in the game. And then on the offensive end, right, they had a big offensive board kicked out to Drew Holiday in the corner for a 3. They had another one which they kicked around the perimeter and got Drew Holiday another 3. They had one where Tatum got post position and got an easy layup inside, right? Like in the fourth quarter, as the Pistons just went on this huge run, cut their 23-point deficit into a 6-point lead, the Celtics said, okay, they buckled down and they made great plays on both ends. So as much as it is frustrating that they let the lead go in the first place, this proves that like when the Celtics lock in, they are still capable of, generating good looks and putting together good defensive stops in the clutch. So once it mattered, the Celtics locked in and they got the job done, which I thought was fun to see after 2 massive blowouts, and also a good indication of just how good they really are.
Yeah, one thing to really enjoy from this, especially in like, let's say the last 3 minutes, because up until that point, it was still pretty ass in the second half. But last season, the two of us talked time and time and time again. The Celtics need to find what they do when the threes don't go in. And they also need to have some sort of fourth quarter offense that isn't only dependent on Jayson Tatum creating something. While Jayson Tatum turned out to be the guy who made the baskets at the end of the game, it wasn't only off of his own creation. The dagger shot was pretty much off of his own creation. It was a bump and a fade.
That was pretty wide open, but
even then, it was they got him the ball off an action. It wasn't, okay, Tatum, here's the ball at the top of the key. You go to work. No, here it is in a spot where you can be successful. Now you can go to work instead of having that weird area at the top of the key that you typically are not great from in the clutch. And then they also had him diving to the basket, being ready for layups, sealing guys in the post. It was a really nice variation to what we saw last year. It's definitely growth in that respect. And listen, we kind of talked about it on the pregame show. The Pistons were a better fourth quarter team today than they were against Indiana, and they were a better fourth quarter team today than they were against Cleveland yesterday. They still are not the greatest fourth quarter team. So the Celtics kind of caught a break with who the opponent was tonight. I thought the Pistons did look good, and they'll probably have a fine season, better than every other 0-3 team. But they're still learning, and they're still not there yet. It's not the kind of thing that you're going to get away with against a team that's been there. They're still clearly not experienced, and the Celtics reap the rewards. I guess we can go through. This was truly one of the first. I don't want to say one of the first times. It's kind of unfair for me to say that. But it was a rare, oh my God, I think they need Tatum for everything game. When shit hit the fan, I was like, why is he not in the game?
Yeah, things got really rough offensively later in that quarter. And for what it's worth, Tatum still did chuck up a terrible shot at the end of the fourth quarter. That turnaround midi was not good, but he hit a big one. He had a nice little post up too. So you're not going to fault him too much, but Tatum was really the only one hitting. I thought for as bad as Jaylen Brown shot the ball, he was pretty good creating, especially in the first half, and he had a couple nice creation plays in that second half too. But he was really a monster on the boards for the Celtics in that fourth quarter, because they were getting killed on there for a lot of the second and third by Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. Like they were getting bullied, and Jalen sort of forced his way in there and helped in that retrospect more than anything else. But in my opinion, I think the reasons the Celtics won this game was because of Derrick White. Like for as much of, Jayson Tatum was a monster in the first half of the game, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, Peyton Pritchard. The second half of the game came around, and Derrick White could not shoot the ball in this game. He could not shoot 0 for 6, did not make his threes. But whether it was, Pistons going a big run or Celtics can't find anything, there were just these little spurts where Derrick White, okay, layup. Oh, Derrick White floater. Derrick White in the lane. He just had enough. He only shot 6 of 14, but that 6 of 14 was so huge because of the points in the game where they came. Like Derrick White only had 4 points in the first half. I think he only had 1 bucket in the first half of the game, but the rest of his buckets came in the third and fourth quarter when the Celtics were reeling and couldn't find anything. And that's on top of the fact that he was a monster on the defensive end with those couple blocks he had, which are also a huge point. So I think he's one of the biggest reasons Celtics won this game. Drew Holiday deserves credit too. Did not have a very impactful offensive game. He didn't score in the first half, but the 2 threes he hit came at a time where the Celtics desperately needed a bucket. Xavier Tillman hit a big 3 in this game as well. Like, for as much as Brown, Tatum, Horford, and Pritchard were monsters in the first half, and Brown and Tatum were still fine, especially Tatum in the second half. Like, Tatum had some big shots too. Like, it came from the guys who didn't have a rhythm in the first half who were able to sort of generate that offense when the Celtics needed it most. So, excuse me, I think Derrick White was, in my opinion, the reason the Celtics won this game, even though Jayson Tatum had 37 points again.
So this game is a really good result in terms of experimenting with, are the Celtics better when Tatum and Brown are on, or are they better when the rest of the cast is on? It turns out that they are certainly better when the stars are playing well. But
Definitely.
like you mentioned, stepping up in those big moments on defense was huge from Derrick White. And without him, they don't win this game. It's really something that Drew Holiday played one of the worst halves of basketball I think I've seen him play. And then he managed to still make an impact at the end of the game, especially like in the closing minutes. He had a possession where he stripped one guy. The Pistons managed to get the ball back, and then he stripped the second guy who recovered the ball. And then the Celtics got out in transition. He really just does have a knack for the winning plays, and the Celtics certainly made up for what they lost in Marcus in that respect. It was actually almost a perfect Marcus game from Drew Holiday today in a strange way, where you were like, wait, what is going on? Why is he doing all this? And then they win, and you're like, oh yeah, thanks for those couple possessions. We really needed you there. Tillman was fine. He had his ups and downs. He had some good defensive moments, then he had some not so good defensive moments.
Yeah.
And it was clear that he's got a little bit of work to do there.
For sure.
I'm happy to see that Horford cooked him this game, at least in the first half. He gave him a real good half. The first half was like laugh out loud funny from everybody.
I was laughing. I was definitely laughing. I will say, Tatum was great offensively. I thought he was kind of a little bit lazy defensively in this game. Like, he had that big block on Jaden Ivey on that drive, but other than that, it felt like he was jumping at too many pump fakes. Felt like he was getting beat off the dribble. Jaylen too at times getting beat off the dribble. Like, the Celtics just weren't completely locked in defensively, and I think Tatum was the biggest culprit, at least that I noticed. Excuse me. I think Jaylen got lost a couple times as well. I know Pritchard got lost in the corner once, but like that Simone Fontecchio in the corner, and I think it was a late second quarter, early third quarter, where he just got a wide open 3 and Joe Mazzulla ended up calling a timeout. I'm pretty sure that was Tatum. I think he jumped and someone had to help, but like he just looked a bit off defensively in this one to me, which it is what it is. But
even the play at the end of the game where Malik Beasley got an open 3 at the top of the key.
Yeah.
It was the inbounds, and Tatum just kind of ran to half court and left Cade Cunningham open. Cade Cunningham penetrates, and then the defense collapsed, and then Beasley got a wide open 3. And it was like maybe there was some special instruction there for Tatum to try and disrupt whatever Detroit was doing. But it was like,
wasn't locked in, no.
Why are you not sticking to your guy? Like, just guard your yard at this point of the game. You're up 4. You really don't need to do anything extra. There was even like a question of whether or not they would just foul up 4. Like, if it was that simple, he really could have just stayed home.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
Hope that they manage to lock in against some of these lesser teams, because they're going to have to play them. There's a lot of these games early in the schedule, and it would be nice to win as many games as you can while Porzingis is out. I know
it's true.
You know, you don't exactly expect them to take over the world without him, and a large reason why a lot of the over-unders are as low as they are on the Celtics this year is because they're going to miss him for so long. But you also have to factor in the strength of schedule at this part of the year, and it's just not there. Like, Washington, Detroit, you're going to have Charlotte twice next weekend.
Yeah.
You have Milwaukee, Indiana in between, so those are pretty legitimate teams, but it's really not that difficult at this point of the year. You have to win the easy ones. And, you know, credit to the Pistons. They made it a hard game, but on paper, this was an easy game. In the first half, this should have been an easy game, and it really wasn't great to see them blow a lead. Yeah. I don't have a lack of trust in them anymore. I'll say that. I don't like feel like I need to go put in a bet on my phone every time they go up 20, even though I did. But I didn't do it when they were up 20. I only did it when they were up like 6 in the fourth, because I was like, oh man, like I don't know how I feel about this. It's kind of trending in the wrong direction. They're not getting very good shots. And
they looked
it was more of what do I see from them in this current moment, rather than my instincts tell me that they're going to blow this lead. So if
Yeah,
they just
I mean,
figure out the offense and the shot selection, they'll be just fine.
I mean, I said this all of last season. This is the game the Celtics lose 2 years ago, right? Like you've seen the growth of the team. You've seen so when we started talking about the Celtics on this podcast, it was like if they go up 20, they're gonna lose, right? Like I always point to that Nets game 2 years ago where they made a million layups and then the Nets weren't hitting all of their open shots and then it flipped and the Celtics just blew the lead in the second half of the game. That's not what this team does, right? Like they've sort of erased that part of what they do, and they'll blow a lead, but they even gave up the lead. Like this wasn't even bend don't break. They broke, right? Like the Pistons went up 6 in the fourth quarter, but they bounced back. They composed themselves and they had some big plays to earn a win. So as much as it sucked to see them blow the lead, like I did think it was impressive to see the way that they bounced back and still managed to take home the win.
PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, and unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. One Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on PrizePicks for every week in September. That's right, only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free W's. Don't miss this deal on PrizePicks because it's gone when September ends. Also, you can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. Sam and I used PrizePicks all season long while on How Bout Them Celtics pregame shows. We picked Jayson Tatum dunks, we picked Drew Holiday steals, we picked a ton of stuff, especially during the finals when Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, we were kind of preying on their downfall. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly. When you play $5, that's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game.
I know I just talked about his defense, but how about Jayson Tatum's 3-point shot, man? Like I keep waiting for it's inevitably going to slump, right? All players go through slumps, whatever.
Well, he was what, 2 of 11 last game? Like it's not a perfect thing. He was great today, but go on.
Yes, but just the confidence with which he's taking some of these shots, and you can already see the difference in the shots he's taking. He's still taking some of those pull-ups over guys, but I mean, Scal couldn't stop talking about it during the game. If he gets a big on him, he's taking a 3. And I know that's something you didn't like last year, but the amount of space he's able to get against whether it's Jalen Duran or Karl-Anthony Towns or Alex Sarr, like he's just creating a million miles of separation for some of these threes. And my favorite threes, which happened a lot against the Knicks, and you saw them again tonight with, Tatum took them, Pritchard took them, is if you set a screen and the big is dropping back even 2 steps, in your face. Like it's just gonna be a 3. Tatum took some of those against Isaiah Stewart, who's driving back in Jalen Duran. I know Pritchard took one too. Like if you don't play switch coverage or come up to the level on screens against the Celtics, you're not gonna win the game. Like you just lose. Like you're giving up open threes every single time. And I think Tatum taking advantage of those to generate a rhythm is great because I mean, realistically, as much as you want him to take more catch and shoot threes, he dominates the ball too much to get a good, healthy dose of them. So I think this is a nice middle ground of like he's clearly comfortable stepping in and taking these threes. And I mean, 6 of 13 tonight. 13 is a lot, but you make 6 of them, can't complain too much.
No,
like, that's
no
almost half.
Especially like he was dialed in. What am I going to do?
Yeah,
cry? No, not today.
Yeah.
I do love. It feels like there is a little bit more of an emphasis this year on getting him threes without him having to create them. And we talked a lot about that last year. And, he only takes these pull-up threes, and it was true. But it wasn't all his fault. It was because there was nothing being run for him to catch and shoot threes. He wasn't being put in position to catch and shoot threes. And now that he's doing that, you can see it's really helping him get in a rhythm too. And those shots have been money. I think he took a couple of them tonight. I don't know if he hit the rim once. I think they all went straight through. I think he had very clean makes. I'm happy with his growth in that respect. I'm happy that he's confident taking the threes. I don't think he looked shy taking them at all last year. I think he was very confident taking step back threes. We were all just not confident watching those step back threes. And, that's a nice difference in all of this. I appreciate that difference. It's a lot easier on me. I can enjoy the step back threes because now they're coming as heat checks. It's not the first shot he takes in a game anymore.
And some of them goes in, and a lot of them
go in now. Yeah.
No, that was great. What's up with Jaylen? like Jaylen has become
Jaylen ruined this game.
Good 3-point shooter, bad interior shooter. Like he's not making anything inside the 3-point line. It feels like nowadays.
Jaylen shot 3 of 9 from 3 today, so he wasn't very good. But to put that in perspective, he shot.
I'm like
3 of
contextualizing
15.
this. Yes, and I'm trying to contextualize this through the entire like first 2 games because he's been a good 3-point shooter against the Knicks and the Wizards too. But he hasn't made it. I'll look up the 2-point percentage.
I just think he's taking a lot of difficult shots too. He's almost falling into that Tatum playoff trap where he's getting more attention from defenses and not everybody that looks at a box score is going to see that. But that doesn't change the fact I think Jaylen like screwed this game.
How so?
When things were going well in the first half, he started stopping the ball. He started being like, watch this. Somehow every possession at the end of it with 5 seconds on the shot clock, it was him dribbling at the 3-point line. It felt very forced. It felt very out of place. I was disappointed with it because I'm with you. Like, I think Jaylen's shown flashes of being great so far this season. I thought he was great throughout the playoffs. I saw a lot of encouraging things from him in terms of growth. And he's been somebody throughout his career that he's going back every year, adding something. And if he's going to build off his playoff performance, by all means, go for it. But this tonight was not what we want to see. And if they had lost this game, my article would have been about the Celtics getting their karma and Jaylen getting his karma because he played like ass in a game where they lost to the Pistons, so he called out. I'm just going to take the night off now. I just didn't want to be a guy because I'm busy, but like I could have did it. I just didn't want to be the guy that only writes when they win. Sure. I didn't want to take the night off if they lost.
Sure. Context: Jaylen through 3 games is shooting 45.8% from 3 and 37% from the field. So just a very clear difference between his 3-point shots and his 2-point shots. I don't want to do the math because I don't know because there's no like it doesn't show me the totals for it, so I can't like look directly at his 2-point percentage. I mean, I can try to rough estimate. He's shooting 4 of 12.7. So what is 4 divided by 12.7 per game? Roughly. This isn't an exact number, but he's shooting around 31.5% from 2. Not good. Really, really, really bad for 2-point shots for a guy who was extremely efficient from 2-point range last year. And it's probably just a slump, but I do think it's a lot of he is just taking tough shots for, I don't want to say seemingly no reason, but it does seem like he's forcing up a bit more than he did last season.
I just think his shot distribution is more either it's a 3 or it's one of those create your own mid ranges. And because he's gained so much more attention now, like he's not getting easy lanes to the rim. And if he is getting to the rim, there's 2 or 3 guys waiting for him. And it just isn't going to work in his favor. One thing I did notice tonight, just kind of talking about getting to the rim, there were moments in this game where they might have been a little bit too addicted to kicking out for 3. There was one Al Horford play in particular that worked out. That worked out, but he catches the ball and has a wide open layup and he kicks it out.
Yes. I don't think he knew he had an open layup because when he caught it, he was turned around and I think he assumed someone was behind him. So he just kicked it out. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I think that was the Drew 3 in the corner, but yes, they did get a lot of, they definitely got a bit too 3 happy, especially in the second and third quarter, but they turned it around. I want to do this before we wrap up. What was your play of the game? Let's do play of the game.
Play of the game?
I think this is fun because I have an answer tonight.
This is fun. I'm trying to think of like the context of all of these big plays that come into my mind. I think I might say it's not one single play, but the back-to-back Drew 3s came at a very crucial spot in this game, and I know it's not the same thing you're going to say, so I'll take that.
Yeah, I think the Derrick White block. I
knew you were going to say that. I didn't want to.
I know. We gotta highlight it. I was trying to think of like a more creative one because that just felt too obvious. Because I think that is objectively probably the best play in the game. But I was trying to think of like something that was a bit more fun. I do think Tatum forcing his way inside for that post up, like he did what I did to you in the half court the other day.
Those of you that weren't there.
They'll hear about it later in the podcast. So I think the Derrick White block, but that Tatum post position play was really good too. You know who was really bad in this game? That motherfucker Tobias Harris. They were like, yeah, go ahead, brother.
He was bad. I was saying it when we were watching it. Let's see, Tobias Harris today. Just for those of you that are curious, 0 of 5 from 3, and it felt like this in Philly too.
Yeah.
All the threes that he misses come in big spots.
I know.
They come in massive parts of the game. And this has like been like a character trait that he's just carried throughout his whole career.
Dude, my favorite part was the very, very start of the game. They were like playing through Tobias Harris, and the Celtics were like, all right, go ahead, play through Tobias Harris. And he just bricked everything.
Jack, NBA.com now has the clickable stats. Please show us the Tobias Harris missed threes.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's run. I like this. This is a little hatery to end every show or end every recap section, I should say, because this is in the middle of the podcast. But
and then when the Celtics lose, we'll do this for them. Don't worry.
Yeah,
we're going to show all the Jaylen missing.
Oh yeah, we'll show them all. Here we go. Let me mute it so we're not getting audio over our sound. I am not on my Wi-Fi, so the Wi-Fi might be even worse than normal, but I think we should still be fine. Let me know if you see a slideshow or if it looks okay. But these are all 5 of Tobias Harris's misses.
Looks pretty good.
Let's see. Very start of the game, like I said, 3 just bounced. That wasn't too bad. Just bounced over the rim.
The playthrough.
This is the one I was talking about.
Start.
They like left him open a little. Bro, the front rims went crazy for Tobias
Detroit's
Harris.
first 2 shots, and they turned the ball over the next possession.
Bro, he looks like a guy who is like half one-handing it and just Tobias. You can't take a 3 in transition. Tobias Harris 3 in transition.
It was a corner 3. This is actually like a good shot. I just remember watching it live, and I was like, "Oh man, no!"
This was big.
Yeah, this one too is to go up 6.
That was a
3
huge
minutes.
spot. I thought it was gonna bounce in too.
I did. Tatum got all those bounces instead.
Man. All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No. Listen to the rest of the pod. Stick around. It's gonna be a fun one.
Please do. It'll be a fun show. It's blowout city tonight, man. All these games. I'm trying to watch another one. They're all like 10 plus, 20 plus point.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Not really. I'm actually happy we had 24 minutes.
We can't complain.
Content. Yeah. We benefit from the close games, but the rest of the fans don't.
You froze at the funniest time in your whole statement. It was a robot. You want to say that one more time?
I think it froze for you, buddy.
Oh. You can't. How am I supposed to?
I'm not at home.
I can never know.
It is your knee jerk. I understand, but I think it froze.
I can't ever
only
know.
For you.
My bad then. In that case, let's throw it over the rest of the show.
All right, welcome back. Hopefully everything went well. Let's jump over to the email here, see what y'all had to say. A reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. Let's take a look and see what we got going on.
Pull it up.
Let's see. I got to clear out the rest of it from the old ones, and let's go. RJ with a bunch of emails and one from Paolo. RJ says, Missoula math imitators. Morning, folks. Just like the sun rises in the East, coaches love to copy winners and their strategy. But will NBA coaches, be able to copy Missoula ball or just try to mimic Missoula math? The lazy observation of Missoula ball is that the C's are hunting threes, and Celtics fans have all got 3 is greater than 2 tattooed on our frontal lobes by now. But that's just the math portion of it. Chucking up long-distance shots is easy but not effective. Joe stresses moving on from a good shot to hunt a better shot. Sometimes that's a more wide-open 3, and sometimes it's a drive to the basket or even taking a mid-range jumper. To execute this part of the game requires ball movement, player motion, and trust. Do the other 29 teams have that level of commitment and execution? Do the other coaches have the same patience to write out good shots rimming out? Will opponents try it for a little bit and shove it when it doesn't yield instant success? If I'm betting on human nature, I think Celtics will have Missoula ball all to themselves this year too. Be well. RJ.
I think it's a talent thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think other teams are good enough to do it like the way the Celtics do.
Because we see teams, especially watching this first week of hoops, we've seen teams create a lot of good open looks from 3. Like I watched that Pistons-Pacers game on opening night, and the Pistons created a lot of good looks in the fourth quarter. They just couldn't make them. Tobias Harris missed some open ones. I mean, even Washington created some good looks against the Celtics the other day. They just weren't dropping. These teams are able to move the ball well. It's just they can't finish the play. That's what really – I mean, listen, the Celtics are an incredible team. They have a very versatile cast of players. But what really separates them from the rest right now is they have finishers. They have somebody you can rely on, not just somebody, everybody, to finish a play. And the reason why some of these guys on the bench aren't getting into games because they don't quite have that confidence from Joe Mazzulla yet. We did the whole video on Lonnie Walker, Jaden Springer. Jaden Springer doesn't get minutes, 1, because he's not as good as the other guys, but 2, because Can you rely on him to finish an offensive play, especially when he's open from three? Not really. No. Can you rely on Luke Cornett to do it if he's open from three? Not really. So they don't have him shoot threes. They just have him be a dunker spot threat, which he's incredibly efficient at. So much so that it allows him to be an outlier. The fact of the matter is, these other teams around the NBA just don't have as much elite 3-point shooting as the Celtics. So it's very difficult for them to imitate it.
Basketball season is back, and I could not be more excited. Getting to watch my favorite team live in person is my favorite time of the year, and I get all of my tickets on Game Time. Game Time is the perfect app to use for all of your ticketing needs. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It brings the best prices, the best deals for you to go watch live basketball right to the front. But it's more than basketball season. The Patriots are back, and the Chargers are coming to town very, very soon, and it looks like you can get a great deal to that game. Justin Herbert going to come to Gillette Stadium to hopefully play Drake May. He did get the start recently, so that should be a very, very fun quarterback matchup as well. My favorite part of the app is the fact that you can filter out the fees, you can look at the best deals, and it highlights what it believes are going to be the best deals for you to get the exact type of ticket you want. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, everything you want. I saw Noah Khan over the summer. I use Game Time to get my tickets. All-in pricing is another part that I absolutely love about the app. Toggling the feature shows the exact total upfront. Like I said, filters out the fees, tells you what you're paying with everything included. It is perfect. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a very, very, very skilled and unique group of players to play the play style the Celtics do, and there isn't really another team around the league that has that, and that's a big reason why the Celtics are as good as they are. Even teams like the Thunder have like a lead ball handler, and I know the Celtics have Tatum, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is much more of a dominant ball handler than Jayson Tatum is even at this point in their careers. Same thing with Jokic. I mean, they're successful because they run through him. And don't get me wrong, the Celtics run through Tatum more than anybody else by a pretty wide margin, but they still pass around enough and have other guys capable of doing that when the other teams around the league don't necessarily have that same luxury. So
It's true.
I think that's a big part of it. But
another thing that
next
makes the
email.
Celtics great is because like no other teams really have the guys to do this. Teams are forced to play a style that they're not good at because they have to try and keep up with the Celtics somehow, or they're just going to get left in the dust. That's what kind of happened in both of the games we've seen so far as we record this. Like the Knicks got absolutely ran out of the gym once the Celtics started making all the threes. Washington played a good half, but once the Celtics started creating and making open threes, the game was a blowout. It was a laugher, and that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the Celtics have such a high-paced, successful offense that it's tough to keep up if you can't do the same. So, next email, a West Coast digression. RJ says the only reason Bronny's in the league and got rolled out on opening night was to keep LeBron from having a hissy. Feel sorry for the kid because he has the most high visibility little league dad in the history of parenting. I have more sympathy for Joel Embiid than I do for LeBron on this one. Kids aren't props. RJ, I guess so. I did see he's going to the G League after this stretch.
He is going to the G League.
Real run, which is good for him, but we'll see how it goes out.
Yeah, I said it on the last show. I think LeBron is like the only guy to ever have like a human accolade. Like getting his son in the NBA is like a testament to what he's done as a player. And it's not even about Bronny. And RJ's right. Like Bronny in this situation is just like a prop. Like it's like, hey, look, I'm so good and I've played so long that my kid can be on the team too and I can play with him. And he's clearly not ready. We've talked about this before, and you think he has potential to be a good pro. And I mean, listen, I'm not saying that he can't eventually be in the league, but I truly feel like he's wasting years that he could be developing in college. And he's also wasting the window to prove himself because teams are going to be far less willing to give him a roster spot after LeBron's out of the league and also after his rookie contract is up. So I feel bad for him in this situation. It's not his fault.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it pans out. I hope he does well. But next email, RJ says, ho hum, another 20-point victory. Hey, folks, tonight was kind of boring, but we've now seen everyone on the roster except for Anton Watson. And Jayson Tatum has yet to have logged any fourth quarter minutes. Oh, yeah, the Celtics won by 20 points again. Baylor Shireman got his first NBA points. Jaden Springer looked like a real player out there. Drew Peterson recorded 2 blocks and a steal in 3 minutes. Nemi had nearly a double-double, 12 and 7 in 13 minutes. Walsh and Davison launched 3-pointers between them, missing all 3. Or launched 3 threes, I should say. And Jaylen Brown got to enjoy his 28th birthday in our nation's capital. Boring, but in a fun way. Be well, RJ, who wonders which team will be the first to hold the Celtics to less than a 20-point margin of victory. Yeah, the Celtics are just like boringly good for anyone who doesn't cover or root for the Celtics.
I'm telling you right now, I don't know. We don't know what happened on Saturday. I want the Celtics to win by 20 as many games in a row as they can, because it will become a story of essentially, can the opposing team cover a 20-point spread? Can they actually get within 20? Because it'll be hilarious when that's what we're talking about. If they do this long enough and they keep running teams out of the gym, we've watched 2 games as we record this. It could change very quickly. It's going to become a must-watch angle of the game. It'll be very similar to how it was when they played the Bulls in the in-season tournament game. It's like, oh, now the game starts. Now the game starts. And I'm sure they'll take it as a challenge as a team too.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious what the spread is already for the Pistons game. Because like usually early season lines aren't terrible. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I bet you it's like 9.5 Celtics.
Let me see.
Might be more.
It doesn't show me.
I'll look.
It doesn't show me.
Pull it up.
It doesn't show me. For some reason, I have the Celtics Hawks game on November 12th, but I can't see tomorrow's game. Anyways, whatever. I can't see it. But next
Celtics
email.
-13.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. Paolo Benazzi says, instant overreactions. Hi, guys. Thank you for your work. Also on Celtics blog, it's always great when the pod comes out. Here are some overreactions to the first NBA week of basketball on 3 teams, Knicks, Magic, Wolves. I know you couldn't wait. The Knicks are going to be good, but even before the blowout, I was more afraid of them last year and before the Cat trade. A copy of the Celtics? I don't know. They've traded toughness for softness. Again, I don't know, but I have the feeling that they've copied last year's Bucks trade instead of the Celtics style. I think the Knicks will be fine. I think Cat will help them in the long run. They just need to figure it out, but we'll see. Again, I am already in love with the Magic. I have them in the 5 to 8 tier, but the first game is any indication there might be a real Celtics copycatters, or maybe the Heat are ready to pull the plug. So much for the culture.
Jimmy do not press conference after a 3-point game on opening night.
I don't think the Magic can keep up that level of 3-point shooting. Nothing in their team's history indicates that they can, and so I'm not going to trust that just yet. We'll see. But
Chris Brickley said Paulo's been in the gym. He's been putting up those threes. Watch out for Paulo.
In the West, in complete opposition to my next take, I think the Wolves might be good again, or even better, once they figure out the rotation a bit more. I don't love Randall, but there's a lot of undeserved disrespect going around right now. He gave that shitty organization some dignity again. That should not go unnoticed. At the end of the day, for me, Randall and DiVincenzo is better than Towns. Simple as that. P.S. Please, basketball gods, don't let Flag get picked by the Wizards. Best, ciao, Paolo B, not Bancaro, from Italy. Thanks, Paolo.
Thanks for emailing.
I mean, Julius Randle looked pretty damn good last night. So, yes. So watch your mouth. He was a monster.
They played again.
Yeah, no, he in a 2-point win, 117-115, Julius Randle had 33, 5 and 4 on 13 of 17 and 5 of 6. So
the last update I had on Julius Randle was from the Wolves subreddit, and it was somebody that posted the AJ Griffin quote of "I'm gonna leave basketball to follow God," and it was like me if I have to watch Randle sit there and pout again.
You know, him and Ant combined for 65. So it's a pretty good evening for
good for them, man.
Yeah. Last email from RJ. Deep bench, deep dive. Morning, folks. As much fun as it was to watch meaningless blowouts, there's lessons to be learned. I looked at how the end of the bench players did in their first 2 extended runs at Celtics blog. Bad news, our end of the bench guys right now look closer to winning Cooper Flag than raising a banner. Good news, they are playing with purpose and improving even in a small sample size. Be well. RJ put a little post on Celtics blog. Make sure to go check it out in their fan post section. Deep bench, deep dive. Jesus. Cool. Let's jump over to the NBA here and start with PJ Tucker. who is exploring some potential trades. The Clippers have given Tucker and his agents permission to go see if there's any teams interested, check out potential trades. And there are 4 potential suitors: the Sixers, the Heat, the Bucks, and the Suns. So it sounds
All
like
former
they're
PJ Tucker teams, by the way.
yeah, exactly. He's going back to the place that he's played before, and if that's their answer to guarding Jayson Tatum, I think that's very funny. Put it that way.
I mean, he's cooked. He's been cooked. There's a reason why he's not playing. Mind you, the Clippers are like not a good team right now. If he was worth anything, he would be getting minutes on the Clippers. Unless you want to play the angle that, oh, they'd rather give these young guys run to see what they have with them and see if they can get lucky and find somebody that's not making any money rather than play 39-year-old PJ Tucker. But I mean, the guy's 39. He hasn't played well in the minutes he's played over the last season and a half. There's a reason why when he was with Philly before the Harden trade, he wasn't playing. It's because he's just not really capable of playing before. He played this season when Harden was there playing, but, at the beginning of last season is what I mean.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like he's got much left in the tank. I mean, maybe you bring him in to be a culture guy because he does seem like he'd be a positive locker room presence, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know.
They'll just throw him out there to injure Tatum.
Whatever. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Speaking of injured, a lot of injuries going around the NBA right now. James Wiseman tore his Achilles, out for the season, presumably.
Absolutely.
DeJounte Murray broke his hand in his first game with the Pelicans. He's going to be out. I think it was like 6 to 8 is the general idea for that. Obviously, you got Paul George and Embiid, who we'll get to in a minute. Kawhi's out indefinitely. It just feels like everyone around the league is already getting banged up with injuries. Like DeJounte Murray traded to the Pelicans, looked great in his first game. Bang, immediately out for an extended run. It just sucks.
I feel less bad for Murray, not because I think it's his fault or anything. That's not. Listen. It's going to make sense when I finish my statement. We're leading it that way. I can see why you looked up. The Wiseman injury sucks because this guy, he's trying to get back in the league. He's trying to prove himself. He was actually playing a decent game, and then he tears his Achilles, out for the season. His whole opportunity just went up in that one play on opening night. Murray's proven he's an all-star. He broke his hand. It's not like a lower leg injury that can alter your career. He'll be fine. It sucks that he is missing his first 6 to 8 weeks as a New Orleans Pelican, especially if you're a Pelicans fan. It sucks because I think that team has potential to compete. But the way that the West is so competitive, you don't really have room to be like, oh, yeah, we're going to be without Murray for 8 weeks. Yeah, we'll keep up with everybody just fine. Probably won't. Probably will have some ground to make up by the time he's back, which could actually cost you your season.
Did you see the Wiseman thing?
Yeah, he
dude
took a shot. I don't know if he made it, and he just kind of turned to go back on defense, and then he went down.
He just started backpedaling, and he just stepped wrong, and that sucks, dude. That's so ass.
I don't know what that would do to me mentally because there are times you hurt yourself, and you're like, oh, I wouldn't have hurt myself if I didn't do that thing. He just was walking. He was backpedaling, like you say. There's nothing that you can tell yourself. I would probably be afraid to do anything after I got back. It would take me a long time to get mentally right to where I feel like I can go full force and really compete hard. I'd be so afraid my Achilles would pop again.
Yeah, it's a brutal break, especially after dealing with a bunch of injuries earlier. It's just tough. Next, I got the Wi-Fi symbol, so hopefully you can hear me. But Kawhi Leonard is in the midst of a legal investigation. This is from a trainer who got fired by the Clippers. Is trying to sue them for wrongful termination. I'm just going to read it here. Chris Hands reported this. The LA Clippers denied the LA Clippers denied allegations.
Sorry.
Motherfucker. The LA Clippers denied allegations from former team trainer Randy Shelton, saying that Kawhi Leonard faced, quote, unsafe and illegal treatment for injuries. NBA insider Chris Haynes reported Thursday that Shelton filed a lawsuit against the Clippers for wrongful termination. Shelton alleged Los Angeles fired him after he issued a complaint that Leonard was, quote, being subjected to unsafe and illegal treatment for injuries. Clippers responded with a statement that Mr. Shelton's claims were investigated and found to be without merit, et cetera, et cetera. The allegations about the 6-time All-Star's injuries weren't the only ones included in the lawsuit. Haynes also noted it included, quote, allegations of tampering years prior to the signing of the star. According to the lawsuit, they started pursuing him in 2017 when he started showing dissatisfaction with the Spurs. And then there was also something in there. I remember it was like his initial injury with, I forget which team, was supposed to be like a 730-day recovery. And then he just like came back way sooner because they wanted him on the court. I think that was the Clippers. Like, just, it sounds like a lot of like, oh, this is like, it sounds like a carryover from the mess that was happening in San Antonio where Kawhi's doctors disagreed with Spurs doctors, and now it's happening. It's a mess. I don't fully understand it, but it's a whole thing.
Yeah, it sucks that he's not being treated correctly, because when you come back from an injury too fast like that, I mean, we just talked about Wiseman and what it'll do to you mentally. Besides that, just from a perception standpoint, if he's not receiving proper treatment, he comes back, he's out there for a couple games, and then he's hurt again. How does the public react? They're like, oh, this guy is injury prone. He doesn't want to play. He's always hurt. He doesn't want to be out there. If he's not getting the right treatment, he really is out of control of that. You really don't have much control over freak injuries as it is. But when you're being set up to fail, and then you are in return, when you're failing, being told that you should probably just retire by, listen, it doesn't matter what the fans think, but the perception online amongst NBA fans is like, why is this guy still playing? He needs to give it up. You're making him look so bad when it's not even really his fault. And you could say this about all injuries, but it's even more so in this situation because he's not even being treated the way he's supposed to. These teams have a responsibility to treat these guys properly.
Yeah, it just sounds like there's a bunch of, even if it's not exactly what the person is claiming, it seems fishy. I know we mentioned when we talked about this in the pregame show, like, why did he resign with the Clippers then? Like, so there are definitely some things that are question marks, but I don't think Kawhi is directly involved in like the lawsuit. Like, I don't think he is suing the Clippers. I think it is just this trainer.
Correct.
So maybe there's something to be said about that, and the fact that Kawhi is not doing anything about it either. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what the updates are, but we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of investigations, though, the NBA is conducting their own investigation into the Sixers and Joel Embiid about his load management strategy. This from Sham said the NBA has begun an investigation into the Philadelphia 76ers surrounding the player participation of NBA center, or all NBA center Joel Embiid. Embiid didn't play in the preseason for what the team called left knee injury management, nor in Wednesday's season opener against the Bucks. He will miss 2 games this week, 2 more games, the Raptors and the Pacers. It's typical for the NBA to review a team anytime a superstar player misses a nationally televised game, as per the player participation policy. Sixers said Embiid is, quote, responding well to his individualized plan and will ramp up his return to play activities this week, including going through scrimmages. So it sounds like a routine thing. It's just so very clear that they are just resting him, and that's not allowed.
Exactly. Especially like on opening night is fucking crazy. You have the first ESPN nationally broadcast basketball game of the season. And Paul George is legitimately hurt. We saw it happen in a game. You're just gonna sit Embiid just for fucking shits and giggles. You're like, fuck it, we don't want him out there. We're gonna wave the white flag to
Do you know who
start
they're
the
bringing him
season.
back against?
Who?
He's sitting out the first 3 games, and he comes back, and the Pistons are the 4.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. So he can start racking up his stat pad numbers and
Yep.
put up the 30 ball, and there can be the talk that no one can guard him and all that stuff. This shit's so lame, man. I'm so over Embiid. And listen, maybe this doesn't have as much to do with him as it comes off, but like
Mhm.
there's a layer to this where it is kind of his fault too. Like if he
It's
really,
just
really
weird.
altogether wanted to be out there, he would be out there. Like he would. There's also the proponent that's like, oh yeah, this is the same knee problem he had last year. It clearly hasn't healed properly. And instead of resting over the summer, he's resting during the NBA season. And he went out and played in the Olympics.
Mhm.
I know I said this before, if I was a Sixers fan, I would be irate that he played in the Olympics, but he's not ready for opening night. What a fucking joke.
Yeah, it's just weird. The Olympics thing makes it even worse. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get why he's not playing. I don't get why. Like he's still hurt. Like what?
Like
He
the
was hurt
ramp
in the
up
playoffs.
activities from what?
Yeah. He was hurt in the playoffs last year, but he looked fine in the Olympics. He looked ready to go. So like, what are we doing? I agree. It doesn't make any sense.
Do we think
So,
something's going on here, like in Philly? Like, do we think there's a problem between him and the organization?
no, I think they're just trying to scam their way into keeping him as healthy as possible for the playoffs. And I don't know why that starts opening night, but maybe it's we don't want him to have to play against Giannis for opening night. Maybe it's we don't want to have to play him against these physical player. I'm serious. Like maybe it's we don't want to have to play him against this physical player. I don't get
We
it.
don't
I'm
want him to have to
speculating.
play in any game where there's any
Yeah.
competition.
I don't get it, man. It just doesn't make sense to me. Well, I mean, after the Pistons game, the Sixers schedule actually gets a little not tough, but like harder. Like they got the Grizzlies, Suns, Clippers, so like and then the Lakers. So it's four real teams competing for the playoffs or trying to compete for the playoffs. So we'll see what happens then. Maybe I'll get to bully Zach Edey.
A great tweet about the NBA season so far, because we're complaining about it so early. It made me think of this tweet. Game 2 of the NBA season, the media story is, does it actually suck to watch this?
It's true.
Which has
people
been
don't like watching.
people crying about the Celtics, by the way.
Yeah, people
They're
don't like
crying
watching
that they
Celtics.
move the ball and shoot too many threes. What do you want? Do you want to watch Luka sit there and dribble for 20
Yeah,
seconds?
they
Is that
do.
what you want? You want to see Embiid post up and then rip his arms through, hoping to get to the free throw line? Do you want to see Trae Young drive and then jump backwards into a defender to shoot free throws? Like, I don't know what people want.
I don't know, man. I will say there is an element to it where like the basketball itself is awesome to watch, but like the Celtics are just killing teams. Like they are just
Yeah, are they
boring
mad that
from
the
that
Celtics
perspective.
are happy and
Too
they get
good. They're too
along?
good. They're too good. Yeah, they're mad the Celtics are so like too good, genuinely. Which
There's no
from like a
drama.
national perspective, I get it, but it's what you're supposed to do. All right, Ratless Sam, what do you got?
Rat list is FedEx. So FedEx is delivering my second Xbox. The saga continues from the last rat list. I get an email this morning that my Xbox is going to be delivered today. It needs me to sign for it upon delivery. They give you an option on FedEx to print the form and have it like at the door or whatever, so they can just have your signature if you're not going to be home. My computer needed to install an Adobe PDF reader in order to get this document. I install the thing. The document does not show. Then I am no longer given the opportunity to print this. So I go to work, I go to Globe Ball, and I come home and I have an email that says they tried to deliver it, but they couldn't deliver it. My question now is, I know the document really kind of gives them an out if something goes wrong with the package. But what is the difference between dropping it off with a document that's already signed in no one's home to just dropping it off with no signature in no one's home? If the thing I guess they just don't want to be liable for it. But why don't they just have a thing on your website that is like, you have to sign for this? Like, just check the box saying that it's cool to drop it off if no one is home. Why do I have to print something?
I think it's just to prove that they're bringing it to the right place. Like with expensive items, it's just like
Okay,
to
fair.
double check, make sure this is definitely the right house. Like just because like shit happens, like DoorDash is delivered to the like neighbor before. You know what I'm saying? Like just in case.
Sure.
Like I had to sign for something recently, and it's just like just in case it's wrong, just in case like it's the wrong apartment or wrong
I gotta get
house
this
or wrong
figured out 'cause I don't
address.
plan on being home tomorrow, but I want it tomorrow. I don't really need it today, so I'm not like that pissed. I
Mhm.
need it tomorrow.
Why?
Well, I'm gonna be going to the house on Sunday. I gotta have it.
Gotcha.
I want to have my Xbox. I'm pretty sure I got some
Alright.
off seasons I gotta take care of.
Sure.
I just know it's gonna make it's just gonna take a lot of I don't want to say stress, but stress out of my
just
mindset.
annoying.
Yeah, I'll like to be able to just unwind there and take care of whatever I want to take care of, and then go back to that. What do you got, Jack?
Rattles my shins, dude. So we were playing basketball today at Globe Runs, and I was like closing out on Trevor and those of you who don't know Trevor Haas, he writes for the Globe, writes for Celtics Blog Little, nasty 3-point shooter, like does not miss. Like he is automatic. So I was like closing out and I jumped really high in the air to like stop him from shooting. And I came down like on the back of my heels. And so the pain just like shot right up into my shins. And I'm like, oh, like I just didn't like land softly. I just landed like right on the bone in my heel and just went into my shin. So I'm like,
Is it still bothering you?
no, it's not that bad, but I can feel it a little. I'm like, ugh. It's just like sore. It's not like a problem. It's
Now
just
you
like,
have that in your mind that you don't want to like start doing activity
I
because then
know.
you're going to be hurt.
I did it on a rebound too. I was coming down after trying to get a rebound. I came down on my shin or on the back of my heel. I'm like, ow, that's not a fun feeling. It was, but basketball was fun though, so I'm not gonna complain too much.
Oh, I had fun. I'm tired as shit, man. And I'm drained because I had to sit in fucking 2 hours of traffic on the way home. It was fucking brutal.
Yeah,
Everybody and their
yeah.
mother's on the road today. Don't you people work? You got nothing going on? You got to be in my way on the highway?
Oh, it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass.
Fucking
You
terrible.
played well though. You played well. As soon as we
That
got
gym-
into, yeah,
That
what?
gym is my Chris Brickley training gym
Yeah.
for Carmelo. I don't know why when I'm in there, I just feel like I'm not going to miss from everywhere.
It's tough. Once we got into the half court, I was a little better. I gassed out. I played well in the game before Sam got there, and then we played fives, and Sam played well, and then we got to threes, and I just
You
fucking
started pushing me around. It was not nice.
just put you in the
I
post.
adjusted to it, but it was a tough. I think there was a point where I just didn't realize how like far underneath we were too. Like I was like, oh shit, he's like right at the rim. I didn't realize that.
That's the early position. I gotta fight for it, man. That's all I got.
Rattless, the Knicks fan that wrote the letter to his wife. If you were under a rock this week, you probably missed this, but 47 million people saw the tweet, so I'm sure you've seen it. Ahead of the Celtics opening night matchup with the Knicks, this guy buys his wife flowers, leaves her a note. Note reads, "Dear wife, let me start this off by saying I love you dearly. You mean the world to me. However, I owe it to myself as well as you to be completely honest with you." First of all, leading a letter like this probably makes her feel like she's getting left.
That's what I thought it was when I first saw it.
That's what I thought too. He goes, "I have to come forward with my truth. I hate to do it this way." And listen, it's like kind of like the joke too that he's like playing it up as if it's going to be something worse. I hate to do it this way, but now it's now or never because what I'm about to say has to be said. Tonight on October 22nd, 2024 marks opening night for the New York Knicks 24-25 season. I will be watching the game tonight. That means from 7 p.m., that's when pregame starts, to whatever time the game ends. I will not be a husband or a father. Y'all are on your own for a couple hours. No, I will not watch our shows with you. No, I will not get you something sweet. No, I will not take the dog out. I will not get the kid in bed either. I will sit on my couch, drink in hand, and I will watch the game. That's it. This doesn't mean I love you guys any less. It just means tonight is absolutely not about y'all. It's about ruining the Boston Celtics ring ceremony. The rest of the season is negotiable up until the point in time we reach the playoffs. Then I will have to abandon y'all again temporarily. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can call me at blank. Well, you have my number. Just call me if you need me. I look forward to seeing and telling you later after the game, that is. So this guy probably slept on the couch to see his team lose by $1 billion. Not good.
No. Poor guy. It was a tough look.
See, that's why you start doing the job that we do early. Like you have to have foresight. Because when I was at the age of like 18, I thought to myself, my family will occasionally try and get me to do things when there are games on, and I don't want to do that. So what I can do is make it so I have to watch the games because it's part of my job.
Mm.
And ever since then, I've pursued the career. And I watch every single game because Jack and I do a lot of work around these games, so I have to watch
There
them.
you go. Exactly. It's a
I
nice
was sharp.
excuse. It's a nice excuse for sure. Ratless the T. So I was going to basketball today. I left Mass at like 10:45-ish. It usually takes me like an hour or so, maybe a little less to get to the place through the T because I have to go into the city and out of the city because it's in Dorchester and I'm in Alston. and I get on the T, get on the green line going in, and I just hear every stop. Sorry, the train's stuck in front of us. Like, it's stuck at the stop. I gotta wait. I'm like, how is it getting stuck at, like, is it just getting stuck when it stops? So the train took so long that I got to Park Street, which is where I needed to get off to switch to the red line. I had like 11:40, right? 11:40. It's like an hour just on the green line. So I'm already angry, right? I get off, or maybe 11:30, actually, 11:30. So 50 minutes, whatever. I get off, I go down to check the red line. Next train that I need to go to isn't for 12 minutes. I'm like, all right, fuck. And then even the next train before that was going to like a closer stop that I could have walked like double the length, was like 8 minutes. I'm like, what the hell? So I just took a lift. I was like, I'm just gonna get out of here, get a car or whatever. It was only like $10. So like it
I
really
wonder how
wasn't
long the
bad,
drive
but
to your house is from there, from Dorchester.
I don't have my car yet.
I know you don't have your car, but I'm curious. I'm genuine. I wonder how much having your car is going to save you on time. I do
I
wonder.
still don't know if I would want to do it because the problem is like if I don't get a spot when I come back here, like it's a pain in the ass to like get a
Yes,
parking spot. Yeah.
I understand.
Let's see. It is a come on. From where I am, it is a right now because of traffic, it's a 40-minute drive.
Traffic is a motherfucker.
It's just a pain in the ass. There's no other way around it because the way it works is so like Boston is. I'm just gonna pull up a map, right? I'm just gonna take my location off and pull up a map. Let me see. So this is a map here. I mean, I can just I'll zoom out a little so I'm not doxing my exact location.
Yeah. Take the rat off while you do that. It's off.
So this is excuse me, where I need to go. This is me in Alston. This is Dorchester, right? The problem is all the roads go this way. Like all of the major roads go into Boston, and so there's no real easy path to get across.
I see. Yeah.
So it's
There's
just
no
cooked.
direct.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's all
I
like
mean, it
back
makes
roads. I would have
sense.
to go like all the way over here, all the way over here. By the time I get through all those lights and all those back roads, it is just slower than going into Boston and out of Boston.
You think they'd make like a? Well, they technically do have 128 that goes all the way around, but
It's tough.
that's too far away.
Exactly. It's just a pain in the ass.
Anti-rat list is the wall. The Clippers launched. They had their first game at their new arena this week, Intuit Dome. And one of the big things that came out when the arena was being built is that Steve Ballmer had planned on there being a superfan section called The Wall, where I'm pretty sure you buy a season pass for The Wall. So these are all season ticket holders who show up to the games and I believe can earn discounts on tickets and also in arena snacks, food, whatever, by making noise. The seats will track how much noise you make. So these people are incentivized to be good fans. The Clippers lose their opening night game, but it goes into overtime against Phoenix. After the game, Kevin Durant shouts out The Wall. Kevin Durant says that The Wall was unlike anything he has ever seen. I was in on The Wall from the very beginning. I thought it was a fun idea. I thought it was funny that it was called The Wall. Why did I think it was funny? Because it's called The Wall. Well, you know why. We got one of the all-time great quote cards from Bleacher Report today about The Wall. Devin Booker, after the game, said, I missed a free throw. I was pissed. Yeah, that shit might work. Hell yeah. Spend $2 billion, put a wall up. Devin Booker wants the Suns to build a wall now.
Well, I think it was Fred Katz. There was I think a Suns fan like infiltrated the wall.
I saw this. I didn't read it. I got
didn't
the
either,
gist of the story. I think the guy used in arena like chicken fingers or something to like mask whatever shirt they were wearing, like whatever was on the front of the shirt. So he's walking like this.
That's funny.
Ballmer's gonna put
That's
an end
funny.
to that. You're probably gonna have to reveal yourself. Also,
The wall's
Steve
cool though.
Ballmer
I
just
like the wall.
plain and simple does not miss. Anytime that man is on camera, you're getting free content.
You see him with the wall? He was like with the wall. He's like,
Yes.
yeah.
That's one of the reasons I like him so much because he's in. He is all the way in on being the Clippers owner. He wants to see his team win more than probably anything, at least the way he acts. Anytime he has a microphone, it's great. Anytime he's on camera, it's great. You're going to get great content from Steve Ballmer.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Steve Ballmer. All right. That's all I got. You got anything else?
That's it.
All right. In that case, Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff, and all that same. Take it out.
Hey, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of the Pistons game, because we don't know yet. As we do this, we don't know what happened. So you guys got to let us know. You can also hit the bell, because Jack and I are doing stuff every single morning. These full pods like this one drop Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, but game recaps are up on the channel the morning after each game. Other videos in between will keep you up to date with all things Celtics. We're also here live before every single game for pregame, a half hour before. It's a ton of fun. It's a different vibe than this. We just kind of chat with you guys. It's a really good time. So come hang out for those. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple. All pods and game recaps go up there, as well as the YouTube. So if you just want the audio versions, you just hit the follow button and they go right into your feed. It's nice and easy. Leave a 5-star review. We would appreciate that very much. Make sure you email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We love to hear from you guys. It's a great way for you to get yourself involved with the show. RJ sends us emails almost every episode. Anytime we get emails from any of our listeners, we do appreciate it very much. Send your thoughts on the game, send your rat list. It does not matter. hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's just the name of the pod. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at JacksMyNBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance. Yeah, that's it for us.
Taco, come on.
Taco.